This conference will now be recorded.
Well, hello, everyone. I am glad to see everybody on the call today. This is the Nacogdoches Chamber Stakeholder Conference call we hold twice a month now. I'm Kelly Augustine. I work at your Nacogdoches County Chamber, and it's a wonderful day in Nacogdoches. We had a fantastic blueberry weekend. We still have some blueberry things popping up, including the results of contests and pictures. It's just really a cool celebration. We are still running our scavenger hunt too, the Blueberry Gang Bounty Hunters. So if you're interested in that, give us a ring over here at the chamber. We can explain that to you. Today's call is recorded and will be available later on the Chamber's YouTube channel. This particular call, we want to follow up as well with an email blast. So the link to this recording will be included in that, as well as more information that has been provided by our featured guests today. The media has been invited to join us or to view these recordings later, so we may see more from that as well. Well, let's go ahead and get this call started. I'd love to introduce our special guest today, Dr. Veronica Chimney. She is the Chief Human Resources Officer for Etech Global. She has served on our chamber board, been very involved in our Chamber of Commerce as well as our community. She is a Leadership Nacogdoches graduate and is a great leader in our community. So thank you for joining us today, Dr. Chimney. I think we'll open up with you kind of giving us a quick overview of what you'll be addressing and what our callers or folks that are going to listen to this later can expect.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. I must share this first, Kelly, and I don't know if everyone heard this earlier when we were chatting. I am still enjoying the remnants of the Blueberry Festival. I've never had blueberry popcorn, and I had it on Sunday. I've had some yesterday for breakfast. I had a little bit for lunch. And then I dined a little bit on a couple of bites for dinner, and I'll probably conclude it today. And so no blue here, but I've been enjoying blueberry pop. I did not have blueberry pancakes this year, but I did have them. So it was a wonderful event. What will we accomplish today? I was a part of a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and I happened to ask someone what their thoughts were on the new ruling. And they are part of an organization, and they told me they had no idea about what I was talking about. No one's discussed it. And I thought, well, that's interesting. And so I went to someone else, and they said, I know very little. And then another person asked, well, when does this go into effect? And I'm thinking, like in a minute, July 1st, 2024, this new ruling is in progress. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, the new ruling as it applies to us for July 1st, and then also how it will apply to us January 1st of 2025. So that's a high-level overview. And if you're ready for me to go into it, I can do that. So.
Yes, I noticed you paused there. I think we should go ahead and mention this is not considered professional advice. You're here to discuss this information with us. What would you like to say that? And then yes, please go into your presentation.
All right. So each person that's on this call, you may have a different structure on how the hierarchy of your company is organized. In fact, you may also have a differing amount of people, number of employees that work for your organization. So I would anticipate that there are many of you on this call that may have 2 employees to 200 to 2,500 to 3,000. So this is going to be applicable to all of us, and how it's implemented varies per organization. I am curious though, for those that have their camera on, how many of you already implemented something within the organization or your HR department or your CFO? How many of you have received some type of implementation on the new ruling already? Show of hands. 1. Okay, so how many of you have never heard of this ruling? I am curious. Okay, that is good. That is good. All right, this is very good. So I may very well share some things that you already know already, and that's okay. And I'll be able to pour some information into you. that you may not know. So we have been this before. We've been at this place before, Kelly, and I don't know if you remember, but this was back in 2016, and people were running around trying to figure out what in the world do we do with this new ruling, and why don't I know about it? And so the new ruling, FLSA ruling, information about the Department of Labor, it will come to you by way of Google or by way of an HRM, a human resource management officer or managers within your organization, SHRM. So a lot of people within the organization may stay abreast to the laws that come our way. And there are so many laws that come our way, and they change sometimes by the year, quarterly. And so it's very important to remain abreast because there's auditing that will accompany some of those rulings. And so there is a new ruling effective July 1st. Overtime exemptions will look a little different. And this is what I really want to talk about. And so if you have your pen handy and you want to take a couple of notes, feel free to do that. So the U.S. Department of Labor announced this new ruling effective July 1, 2024. And the ruling is revised to govern exemptions for people to fall in three categories: executive, administrative, and professional. That would be the exempt group. And I'm going to break this down just a little bit more, just in case it's just a little bit much. And so there is a minimum salary threshold that everyone should pay close attention to. What we've learned is that there are many workers within our organizations that are working hours that exceed 40 hours per week. That happens. Well, there's a threshold, a minimum threshold, where our government is saying that these individuals need to be recognized for their overtime. And so effective July 1, you need to ensure that you are monitoring, not necessarily their hours worked, but definitely monitoring the hours that exceed a 40-hour work period. And so the minimum threshold in 2016 was 35,568. And so if you earned in 2016, or actually prior to July 1st, $35,568,000 or below, you then were qualified for overtime. The new ruling, as of July 1, just in a few weeks, effective July 1, the new earning is $43,888,000. So if you have employees that earn $43,888 or less, or $844 per week, then they will be eligible for overtime. So what does that mean? So many employers have said, so do I need to convert? Do I need to increase the salary? And that, it depends on the employer. And those are some discussions that you and your financial department would need to have. You need to get with your CEOs, your executive boards to figure out what you need to do. But you need to begin looking at the salaries of all of the individuals within your organization. And for those that fall below the $43,888 per annum, you need to be able to identify a way to track their hours so that you can identify when they work over. And it is important, the law has dictated that we need to pay them overtime. So what are employers doing? Many of them, and I don't mind sharing with you what Etech is doing. We're looking at the duties test. First of all, we're looking at individuals that fall in different categories, and we're looking at their role just to ensure they meet that primary duties test. And that's very important. So job descriptions are created in many organizations, and so it's very important to look at the role. And you definitely want to be able to look at administrative, professional, and executive categories, because those are exempt positions, that they are not required to be overtime. But any positions outside of that is very important for you to have a list and identify what you're going to do. So one, what are some companies doing? As an example for Etech, we've looked at the positions, and some individuals will actually receive an increase in pay. As an example, if we have individuals that meet the actual threshold they should be at in regards to the role, then we're going to bump their salary. And so they'll exceed 43,888. But others today, they're not clocking in. They're our salaried exempt employees. They're not clocking in. We're not paying them overtime. And so that's going to look a little bit different for us July 1st. And so as of today, we're actually going through a series of training to share with these individuals that will be moving into that category that we call salary non-exempt. So salary non-exempt, we're looking at their salary, and we're also utilizing a tool where we can capture their daily login. And the law does not require you to require them to clock in and out, but the law will require you to be able to identify if they're working overtime. And so a number of you may do that, in different ways. We have a web clock system. There are some organizations that have the clock where you're swiping in a timesheet, and others are just, putting in, they're penciling in those hours. Well, whatever you're doing, you're going to you need to be able to identify when that individual will work over. All right, so that's the threshold for July 1st. For January 1st, the threshold will be $58,656. $58,656. What that means is in January 2025, on average, employers will have more people earning overtime than they did prior to July 1st. And so it's going to look different, even for Etech. And we have a host of leaders around Texas and Florida, and even the structure of our organization will change significantly. We have about 40 people where the change will be applicable for July 1st, and it's just going to get even larger for January 1st. And so I have received questions from our employers, our employees, and they've said, why is Etech doing this? And this is not an Etech thing. This is not the Chamber of Commerce. This is not even based on Nacogdoches County. This is the government. And so based on the administration, rulings are approved or are denied. And things may look differently. We do know that this is how it's going to be for July 1, 2024. And we do know that this is possibly how things will look for us January 1, 2025. But after that, who knows how things will change? It just depends on our administration. But as of today, we do know that this is going to take place, this change, every 3 years. And so 3 years from January 1, 2025, we're going to need to be prepared, as of today, be prepared to see the ruling change and the increase, that threshold look different each time. So I'll give you that number one more time. Effective July 1, 2024, individuals that are at $43,888 or $844 per week, we will need to pay them overtime. They will begin earning overtime. Some have asked, well, those individuals, can we create a schedule for them? Yes, you can. Some have asked, am I going to be required to convert them to an hourly wage? And the answer is no, you won't have to do that. So as an example, we call them salary non-exempt. So our employees at Etech will remain salaried, but they will be considered salary non-exempt. It means you earn a salary, but you're not exempt. And so now you're non-exempt, meaning you qualify for overtime. So you can have a salary and qualify for overtime. And that number that you want to keep in mind is $43,888. Now, your organization is going to need to identify how you track that. And of course, everyone does something different. And so I would begin having those conversations today. Here's an example. We have a pay period with the company that I work for, Etech, and our pay period for June 9th through June the 22nd, I'm just looking at our pay schedule here that our payroll department created. So for salaried employees, our pay period is June 9th through June the 22nd. And they will be paid on June the 28th. Well, what I decided to do was to make the change effective June 9th. So that was just the other day. And that is to ensure that by July 1st, we are in compliance, if that makes sense. And so these individuals that will get a salary for the pay period June 9th through June 22nd, on their 6/28 check, it's already going to be reflected. So effective July, we'll already have everyone in place. They'll begin observing and clocking in. We'll be able to see who has earned overtime already within this current pay period. Kelly made me smile the other day. She asked, Veronica, what are your thoughts on having this at the end of June, this meeting at the end of June? And I told her I would love to get with our community partners and discuss it. However, my concern would be it would be too late. It wouldn't give a number of employees time to prepare. You definitely want to begin looking at your staff and identifying what you should do based on their job responsibilities. And again, some individuals will receive a small bump in pay and exceed the 43,888. So a person may earn 43,900. So if they earn 43,900, will they earn overtime? Or by law, will they be required to earn overtime? And the answer is no, because the threshold is 43,888. And that's the number you want to pay close attention to. But everyone on this call, you may very well have something implemented on the back end, and you may not be aware, and some of you may. But I am actually open for questions. Again, every organization is different. You have a different structure. You definitely want to visit with your personal HR team, your finance, your payroll department, your presidents or executive boards, just to see what the goal is, the vision is for ensuring compliance. Kelly, I will say this, because some people have actually asked me about the possibility of this not happening. Is there a possibility that on July 1, a company, you're doing a number of things to ensure that this is implemented, and then on July 1, we receive, oh no go, this is not going to happen. It could happen. It could happen. And I've actually seen a couple of articles where it's a possibility of litigation. People are trying to fight it. And who knows, it could possibly change. But hypothetically, let's just say that it doesn't. You want to be sure that you are ready to push that on button or go or flip the switch, the light switch, just ensure that you are ready. So on July 1, you need to be sure that you have everything in place, because we won't have a lot of time to run and get these things, in place at that time. So you definitely want to be ahead of the game at this point and continue to keep your eyes open and listening to see what's going on. I will commit to you, Kelly, that if I hear something, especially with the change, I'm going to send you a text message and I'm going to say, listen, we need to communicate to our community partners that this is not going forward, so that everyone will know, because this is going to be an expensive launch, not just for Nacogdoches, but in the US, this is going to be very expensive. I was looking at the millions of dollars this is going to cost many employers. And quite frankly, I don't know about you, but we don't want to overtime our way out of a business. We want to continue to keep our community, our residents employed. We have work to do just within our own community. And so it's very important to be wise on the structure that you create. Something that I did share with the leaders at Etech is leaders have the authority to identify the threshold for overtime. And so while there may be a requirement to compensate individuals for the overtime, there's also the authority, the decision that an employer could make that no overtime will be allowed. And so you can communicate to your staff that this season we're not approving overtime. So no one will exceed 40 hours, period. But if they do, the law will require you to compensate them for it. And then you need to, that's another discussion where disciplinary action and coaching would need to take place, because the law would still require us to compensate them. But it's important that you communicate the specifics of what you're looking for regarding your staff. So I hope that this helps. I hope that you can begin thinking about what you can do for your organizations just to ensure that you are in compliance. There are several organizations that have been audited by the Department of Labor. And I don't know about you, but I appreciate DOL. They've asked us many questions. And, I will tell you, they'll keep us on our toes just to ensure that we're in compliance. And here's an example. If you're ever audited and anybody could complain and they could say, listen, I'm not being compensated for overtime, and they could complain. And the Department of Labor could very well conduct an audit on your organization, regardless of the size. And one of the things that they would share with you was, Veronica, there was a complaint that you're not paying your employees overtime, and they meet the threshold where they should be compensated for it. Why aren't you doing that? And then they may ask, I need to see a report, because I would say, yes, we are. we are compensating our employees, and they would say, I need to see a report on all of your salary non-exempt employees, and I want to see Veronica's schedule, from February or July 1st, and I need to be able to produce that pay period on Veronica Chimney to show that not only did I compensate her appropriately, but I also captured her overtime, and then they want to see that I paid her the overtime. So you do not want litigation to follow you or Department of Labor looking for you because we're not compensating appropriately. So compliance is very, very important. All right, Kelly, that was high level. We could actually spend 8 hours talking about this because there's just a breakdown on duties and primary responsibilities. A number of people may make a decision just based on salaries, and that's not the best way to make a decision. You want to look at job descriptions and the roles of those that are employed with you. And so there are a number of things that you want to consider before you make a knee-jerk, I'll say that, knee-jerk decision, but it is important to comply with what's expected of us. I hope this helps.
Well, it does sound a bit complicated, but I think your comments have helped me understand it a little better. I hope it has for these folks and the folks that will hear this a little later. I do have one quick question. I think you addressed it when you mentioned, checking with the different offices or advisors. You mentioned boards and executive boards. So this will affect any organization that has paid employees. Is that right? Whether you're a 501 or for-profit or whatever you may be.
So this is for private, state, and government positions. Yeah, and so something else too. What I'm going to do is send you a link because there's a list of positions that are by default considered exempt. They're by default, they're considered exempt, and I can send that. I'll send that to you so that you can look at it. But I would also encourage everyone to look at, when I send you the link, look at EAP, and EAP would be executive, administrative, and professional. And each of you, even those that are on this call, you may fall into one of those areas. You're either an executive or you're administrative or you're professional. And there are different positions that will fall under those categories that will let you know if an individual should be in an exempt position or not. Kelly, I'm going to add something to that. Sometimes we will put individuals in a position that we shouldn't, and that depends on their role. As an example, you may be compensating someone from a salary standpoint and placing them in an exempt position, but the law does not support that. That individual should technically be in an overtime position. They should be allowed to earn overtime. I'm not saying that you can't pay them a salary, but they should be salary non-exempt, meaning you pay them a salary and they have the ability to earn overtime. And a lot of companies, we try to play around with it and placing people. You think that is great. I'm going to give Veronica a salary. I'm going to pay her $43,000 or I'm not, or $45,000, but I'm not going to give her the overtime because it doesn't meet that threshold. Well, based on my responsibilities and my duty, I may very well qualify to fall under this ruling, the overtime ruling. And so my employer has actually placed me in the wrong category. I should be non-exempt and not exempt. And a lot of employers don't look at that. And so those are some things that you need to consider as well. We could have an 8-hour day talking about this. It's so interesting to me, but yeah, we could spend a lot of time. And I don't mind anybody reaching out to me, Kelly. They can ask me questions. We can share best practices just to see what we're doing. And other organizations may have a different structure that they're doing, but the law is the law. And so at the end of the day, the goal is to be, to ensure that we're in compliance.
Yes, and you mentioned sending some links, and I had mentioned earlier that the chamber will be sending out an email blast. We could probably post this in our chamber news as well. Will those links, will that information help a lot of our members?
Oh, it will. In fact, there is what I will also send you, and I made a note, so I'll do this as soon as this call is over. There's also a list of FAQs, and they are so helpful. It gives you the why. this was implemented, and a host of other questions that we just probably don't have the time to answer today. And it'll give a high level over the breakdown of the threshold that I also provided to you for July 1st as well as January 1st. And then other resources that employers can use, like, how do I start? Where do I go? How do I begin? And so there's some guidance on what employers should be doing at this point, just to ensure that you're in compliance. And it sounds very complicated, but once you get the rhythm of basically understanding the structure of the organization and the roles of each person that they play and the categories that you place them in and their current salary, you will then know what you should do. Should people receive an increase in pay? Because there are some positions under the EAP that I was talking about, executive, administrative, or professional, where they may be below the 43,888, but they do fall under exempt. And so technically employers could give them a little bump that's a little bit above that threshold, the 43,888. And then, I mean, business as usual, they wouldn't qualify for overtime, but that's okay because they fall in compliance under the guidelines of positions that should fall under exempt. And so the link that I'll send to you will definitely cover that as well. The kicker would be, I'm not as concerned about those that are exempt than I am about those that should be non-exempt. They should be earning overtime, and they're not because we didn't properly place them in the right position based on their role. That would be the thing that I would be most concerned about. That would be one, their placement. And then number two would be, how can I ensure that I begin capturing their overtime so that by July 1, they can begin earning the overtime that they should be earning. But also remembering that I can deny overtime for anybody. No overtime this month. And that's okay. You're in compliance. An employer can do that.
Wow. Okay. Does anyone else have any questions for Veronica?
I have one if you have a minute.
Hi, Henry.
Hey, sorry for joining late, but Veronica, good to speak to you again. My question is, how much confusion do you think this will cause in employers or questions compared to, I think the last thing that was similar was the ACA guidelines from 2014 or 15. Is this in a comparable event or?
It is. It is. It is very, yeah. And so, and the reason why is because we're still, leaning on the possibility of this not moving forward. And I would anticipate the mass confusion for January 1st. And I'm really transparent because it's going to apply to more people. That threshold is going to be 58,656. And that's going to be critical. That's going to be a huge number. So I imagine January 1st is going to be probably more so confusing, but I will say that right now, what can I use as where people are running around trying to figure out what do they need to do, and it is causing confusion because sometimes, organizations just don't have that proper structure, and this is the time to create and enhance the structure that you need to, because if we decide to go, or not we won't decide this, if the government decides to have this transition every 3 years, then we need to be sure that we have a proper structure in place today to minimize the confusion going forward. But yes, Henry, yeah, I would say definitely comparable. That's a great analogy if I could use one.
So back then we had to get real consultative and figure out exactly how it would affect us as a staffing agency and then all of our clients. And it sounds similar that we need to spend the next 6 months getting on top of this, so then we could go to each one of our clients and tell them how these eventualities will change
Absolutely.
them doing business.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Veronica mentioned, all the what ifs. Late yesterday, I let her know we actually received an email from Texas Association of Business. So they are also working on this for their members. the Texas Association of Business is the state chamber, and we're a member of that association. I haven't seen anything from the U.S. Chamber on it, but they probably have something cooking up too. But we have to proceed, as you said, expecting what has been stated, correct?
Mhm. That's correct.
So when did
That is
when
correct.
was the announcement? When did this come about? When did that happen? I'm sorry, Veronica, you just went silent. It doesn't show. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I can't hear. I'm not sure what happened. Okay, I apologize, Veronica, but we're not getting anything. It's totally silent.
Say that again. Well, so the discussions began actually last year, and so people heard of rumors, even of Twitter. Can you hear me okay? Can you but months, 16, 17, testing.
Okay, we had a major technical issue there. Veronica, I'm going to say let's leave it there. Thank you again. We will follow up with the email, and I appreciate your time and your information that you've shared today.
Thank you.
All right. Well, folks, I'm sorry about that. But I'm glad we got the bulk of your presentation. So that was good. We're going to move on to our next report from the Executive Director of our Visit Nacogdoches, Ashley Morgan. Hi, Ashley.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. And that was a great informational session from Veronica. I think I was the one person that rose my hand, and I can't even take credit for it, but the city's HR department was aware of that and recently helped us through the changes. It wasn't super painful, but I think, like Veronica said, it's better to get ahead of it if you can. So I don't want to steal the Chamber's thunder, but the Blueberry Festival was a huge success. It was absolutely packed downtown. It was so much fun. I'll let them talk about the rest of it. We do run some data reports to see how many visitors we had and what our hotels looked like, but we won't have those for about another month. So I'm sure we'll be talking about Blueberry for the next few months, and then we'll get a little break for Christmas, and then we'll be back to talking about Blueberry. Because that's how our year runs around here. So we're gearing up for our next event, which is the Freedom Festival in Festival Park for 4th of July. Go ahead and mark your calendars now. That will be on the actual day of 4th of July, not the Saturday before or after. I hope to see you all there. That's one of my favorite events, and the Nacogdoches JCs always do a great job making it fun for all the kiddos. And let's see, we don't have a whole lot else event-wise. Right now, we are just knee-deep in budget planning, as I'm sure a lot of you all are. So it's kind of the boring side right now, but that's okay. We'll be back to fun in no time. And we do have a Knack Snack Friday this month on the 4th Friday, which I believe is the 28th. It will be our last Knack Snack Friday for the season. We just take a break in July and August because it's too hot to be on the brick streets. But we hope you come and join us on June 28th. We'll have food trucks around the downtown square, and we'll have tables set up on our little patio, which does have fans, by the way. And we hope that you come see your friends while you're downtown. And we're just really excited for this upcoming summer and all of the movement with murals and whatnot. So it's a great time to be in Nacogdoches.
I will agree with you, Ashley. It is. It's always a good time to be in the oldest town in Texas. By the way, somebody did mention that to me yesterday. We've had festival attendees and those that couldn't make it come to the chamber to get their t-shirts, and one even mentioned that, commented on us being the oldest town as a visitor. That was kind of cool. That stuck with them. Any questions for Ashley? All right, we're going to invite Caroline Garner, our president and CEO of the Nacogdoches Area United Way, to give her report.
Thank you, Miss Kelly Augustine. Enjoyed also Veronica's report. Now I'm educated and hungry for blueberry popcorn, which I have at home. Doggone it. Want to have it here. Anyway, at United Way, we are in the midst of what we call our Christmas time, sort of a Christmas in June and July, in that we are getting ready to decide what gifts we will award, monetary gifts we will award to different agencies next year. So we have been having a slew of applications come in. We have 19 agencies applying for funding from United Way for 2025. We plan way in advance for that. We will have a committee for our bylaws. 20 plus volunteers will decide where that funding will go. It's not up to the staff. That's so that we get a variety of opinions and buy-in from the community, and people who are in touch with what the needs are in our community will make that decision. That's done on an annual basis. So we're just excited to be in that. We're going to watch videos. We started receiving videos from the agencies during COVID instead of in-person interviews, and we've stuck with that. It's very informative, and we can watch them and watch them again if we need to. We're going to get together to watch them. Maybe we'll have some blueberry popcorn when we get together to watch them in the next month or so. Anyway, we're excited about that and looking forward to our funding decision. Also, we are planning for our annual Day of Caring volunteer event. This will be our 7th annual Day of Caring volunteer event, where we match mostly United Way donors with projects at different nonprofits around town, most of whom are United Way agencies. That's going to take place on June 21st, Friday, June 21st in the morning. We'll feed them breakfast, give them some door prizes, and then send them out to their project assignments for the morning. This will happen at 10 different sites. We have well over 100 volunteers enlisted for this year, so we're very excited about that. And then speaking of volunteers, we just finished our first Give 5 volunteer program. I've been talking about that for a little while, so this shouldn't be new news to you guys, but it did wrap up recently. They did 3 consecutive Tuesdays of going to visit different nonprofits in town to explore volunteer opportunities. This was aimed at retirees to give them a renewed sense of purpose. The Chamber of Commerce was one of our sites. And in fact, one of our Give 5 graduates, we had a graduation last Tuesday, which was really cute, already served a volunteer position at the Blueberry Festival at the Chamber of Commerce tent. But anyway, we graduated, we started with 10, we graduated 9. Actually, we should have graduated 10, that 10th one, after her first class, was hired at a volunteer. So she could not continue the program, and she was sorry she couldn't continue, but she was all of a sudden too busy with that. But I just want to read an excerpt from an email I received from one of our Give 5 participants, who wrote, "Thank you for giving me the opportunity to feel useful. I'm glad that I now have identified a purpose in life." It's just beautiful. It's just touching. It's so special. And this is somebody who had an amazing professional career, and then all of a sudden was at home feeling lack of value, lack of purpose, lack of contact. And now, thanks to this program and our partners who participated in this person is once again feeling engaged and like they have a purpose. So anyway, so we're grateful to have been able to do this, thanks to partnership with SFA Carey and other sponsors, and the nonprofits like the Chamber who engaged with us in this. So we're going to have another class in the fall. We haven't established the dates yet, but stay tuned. And if you know any retirees who could use a new sense of purpose, education about where they can volunteer and plug in with their special skill set in Nacogdoches, stay tuned for that. Thank you, Kelly.
Oh, thank you, Caroline. I don't think you mentioned, but you actually brought this program to Texas. So oldest
That's
town in
true.
Texas will have the oldest Give 5 program in Texas.
Yes, ma'am. We're very proud of that. Yes.
Yeah, it takes boldness, a little bit of risk taking there to bring something new. So appreciate you taking that step.
Thank you, Kelly.
Did anyone have any questions for Caroline? I'm sure if anyone knows or just needs to get a business organization or a person to you that might be interested in more information, correct? Okay,
Yes.
great.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I'm going to ask Mary Ann Rojas if she would like to give a report. I don't want to put her on the spot, but she is the director of our SFA CARI, the Center for Applied Research and Rural Innovation. We have an exciting event coming up with them. So Mary Ann, if you'd like to talk about that and what's going on in your neighborhood.
Sure. Good morning, Kelly, and good morning, everyone. Always ready to give a report about CARI because it's never a dull moment, I believe it, in our place. But yeah, as you mentioned, our groundbreaking for our new location will be next week, actually, on June the 18th. We're super excited about the location. Unfortunately, we won't be able to have tours. It's under construction, probably not very safe at this point, but super excited. We will get to hear from our new president, Neil Weaver, who will be there, and excited to hear what he has to say. And I think it'll probably be his first public appearance. So if you all have a few minutes next Wednesday at 1:30, we will be doing our groundbreaking, having some refreshments, and of course, opportunities to see each other in person again. So anyway, super excited about that. We are underway with our University Center grant also. We were only one of 23 universities nationwide that got selected as a university center in Texas. I think there are only 4 in Texas, or the Texas region of the EDA, the Economic Development Administration, which covers several states. So we're just really excited about that opportunity. Josh Fleming is our new coordinator, and the purpose of University Center Grant and the work that we'll be doing is providing technical assistance to our rural partners, rural counties, and helping them with economic development issues and concerns. So really excited about all the work that everybody's doing. And I think that quick update on CARI.
Well, thank you for that. And thank you for involving the chamber in your groundbreaking. That is exciting. If anyone has any questions now or maybe later for Mary Ann, we do look forward to seeing everyone in person. Now it's summer vacation for many people, and it'll be nice to get back together. While Henry is on the line, I just wanted, and on the screen, I will also mention we have a wonderful event scheduled with him as well next week. Thursday is the Alive After 5. This is June 20th. It will be hosted by Express Employment Professionals, and it will be held at Austin Hall. So that starts at 5:30. We look forward to seeing everyone there too. Henry, did you want to add anything to that?
No, you covered it. We'll have good food and good drink. So anybody who's interested in that, please come by.
I saw a Cajun caterer and R&K distributor in that lineup. So
yeah, JP's Cajun Kitchen is helping us there. So
perfect.
It should be good stuff.
Okay. Well, I know we had some issues earlier with sound, but our executive director of the Nacogdoches County Exposition and Civic Center, Anita Scott, is on the call. Let's try and get some information out of Anita. We're going to pull you out of your shell there, Anita.
Yeah, I seem like I'm sitting in the dark, y'all, and I'm really not. It's just dark spot over here, so I apologize about that. You hear me good, Kelly? Okay, good. Okay, so thank y'all for having me. We're over here busy as always. We're digging up bones. The Texas Archaeological Field School is here, and they're lodging on the back property, and they go out in Douglas, I believe, and they're digging up artifacts and stuff, and then collecting all of that, but then coming back to the Expo Center, and they're camping out here, just eating their meals and stuff and getting rest for the next day, and they'll be here till the 15th. So if you're passing by and you're seeing vehicles here and you're wondering what's going on, that's what we're doing this week until the 15th. And then the 17th through the 21st, we'll have a K-12 Virtual Learning Academy is going to be here. And then on June the 22nd, from 6 to 9 a.m., Nacogdoches County Youth Livestock Association will be validating the animals that's going to be shown here during the Piney Woods Fair, which is October the 9th through the 13th. So be sure to mark your calendars for that. If you are a vendor or wanting to participate somehow with the fair, we'd love to have you. We're looking for stage entertainment as well. So if you have a talent and you want to be a part of the fair, we'd love to have you. Give us a call here at the Expo Center. We also have the gun show this June the 21st through the 23rd. And then we have a new event in July. We're working with a coordinator to bring East Texas Showdown. It's a truck, car, and bike show. That's going to be July the 13th. I don't have all the details yet, but as they materialize, we'll put that out, and we'll have it on our Facebook page at Nacogdoches County Exposition and Civic Center. Be sure to like and follow us. That's where we kind of keep everything, everybody updated on what's going on here at the Expo Center. And that's about all I have right now, Kelly.
Well, thank you for keeping us updated on all that activity. You know, that spills over into our community. All those folks that are there digging up bones, I believe you said, they can also do some exploring around our community. So I'm glad they're there. I'm glad they're in that.
They're buying fuel, and they're probably going out to eat and buying material and supplies for their digs and things. So absolutely, we're out of sight kind of, but we're definitely still very, very valuable things going on here at the Expo Center.
Well, thank you for you and your team work that you do.
Thank you.
We also have on the call Diane Ameren, a great supporter of small business, whether it's a startup or expansion, or even looking at sales and other phases of a business. Diane, would you like to give us a report today?
Well, good morning. It's nice to be on today and see all of you. And Anita, you make me want to do a staycation and just participate in all those events. It sounds like a lot going on there. I guess the main thing we're looking forward to this month is at on the 27th, we have the Governor's Small Business Summit for our East Texas area here at Angelina College at the Conference Center, and want to invite everyone out. That's going to be, I think, a really good thing for the community and our business community, and I'm excited about that. We're staying busy with lots of clients. You know, it's been a time of not big dollar investments, but it's been surprising to me the number of sole proprietorships, so one-owner businesses that are cropping up. But we're here to help people in all aspects of their business, from startup to exiting plans. So keep us in mind, and know that we're excited to be a part of helping our area grow and succeed. So thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate you. I would like to open it up if there is someone I missed. I know we have a lot going on even over our summer months, so I do want to thank you all for again giving us your time to be here today. We appreciate that. We at the Chamber are getting ready not only for that Alive After 5 next week with Express Employment Professionals, but also our Eggs and Issues, which is our monthly membership meeting. It will be on June 27th. That's Thursday morning, a couple of weeks from now. And our guest speaker is an SFA professor, Dr. Justin Blunt. He has actually been involved in our chamber through the business development series in the past. And he's going to want to talk to our group, chamber membership, employers throughout this area about classifying your employees. So this might affect how you handle contract labor or your part-time employees. So again, kind of similar to what Veronica was saying, this is something you want to make sure you would understand completely so you can handle it correctly and not have to go back and correct something that might be found to be wrong. So there is a registration for our Eggs and Issues meetings. Please take advantage of the online option, or you can always give us a call here at the Chamber to register. We do have a ribbon cutting coming up this Thursday, which is June 13th. That's going to be with Connections Counseling at 4:30. We have the groundbreaking with Carrie on Tuesday the 18th, and we'll have another call coming up later this month on June 25th. A couple of things I want to help or to remind folks about is Leadership Nacogdoches will be forming soon. The new class application is available now. We'll be taking applications through July 15th. And we are really excited to see how this class is going to shape up. So if you're interested in getting more information about that, it's on our chamber site at nacogdoches.org under the chamber tab. And we are probably going to be opening up the nomination forms for awards, the annual awards that the chamber does every year. So that's going to be opening again later this month. Just be looking for that and thinking about small, medium, large businesses of the year nominees, as well as citizen of the year, nonprofits of the year. And we did add that additional award in honor of our former CEO, Wayne Mitchell, which has to do with advocacy and the impact that it makes with our business community. So I am going to leave you with nacogdoches.org again. Reminder that we will be sending out that email with more information. And thank you, Veronica, for providing so much good information, both verbally and text version too. Blueberry Festival was a blast. Thank you to all the volunteers and sponsors that made that possible. Again, you might want to keep checking those social media sites and that texasblueberryfestival.com site, because we're going to be posting more pictures of that fun day, more videos, and other contest results and information following that. Thank you for everything you're doing in Nacogdoches. I will sign off now. Have a great week.